Okay, a little technical difficulties, but we're going to call this meeting to order. And I see we have a quorum. Can we get an approval of the agenda?
Madam President, I move to approve the revised agenda.
Second.
All in favor with a show of hands? Okay. And Ms. Gillis and Mr. Watts, we have some information to get from you.
To President Will, our Vice President Mitchell, other board members, and to Dr. Moore. In your packet, you should have received a memo from Mr. Watts discussing our summer school salaries that we would pay for this summer. Traditionally, we pay $25 per hour for teachers, and then classified staff would receive whatever their normally hourly rate of pay would be. But we know this has been an extraordinary year for our kids, for our staff, for our teachers, for our students. With the ESSER grant, it allowed for us to pay a different amount than what we would traditionally pay. So the leadership team met with Dr. Moore, and we came up with what we thought would be a fair amount to pay each of the people you see listed on here. And it is an increase. Like I said, traditionally it's $25 an hour. But if you look at those, and I know you received this in your packet already, you can look and see what each one is line item to be. We also got fair market value for like nurses, our RNs and LPNs. We saw what the going rate would be for them so that we could make sure that every school had applicable staff for this summer. Teachers this year were required to do so much more during the summer. Normally they just pick up their things and they move into summer school. They had to be trained on how to use Legos, they had to learn about coding, and different ways to teach kids who have pretty much been out of school for almost a year. So we thought that this was fair for our teachers and our staff so that our kids could have the very best for them.
Yes, and I will just say that we did check some of the rates at some of the other school districts, and we want to be as competitive as those other school districts. In fact, I talked with a person in Birmingham today, and they're paying teachers $65 per hour. And the reason they're having to pay that amount is because you have 13 schools in Jefferson County, and they said they just could not get teachers at $50 an hour. However, $50 an hour was competitive for us for this particular area. But we did check around, and of course, Dr. Moore had gone to a workshop, and many of the superintendents also stated what they were paying a number of staff, which was an increase in what the normal rate would be. So and the funds are there. This is coming out of that $58 million ESSER 2 grant. As you know, we also have an ESSER 3 coming of $129 million. Of course, this is coming from the ESSER 2, the $58 million, and the funding is there, Madam President.
Does anybody have questions on that? I'm just appreciative to y'all for putting together this schedule. I mean, these folks are working really hard this summer and very much appreciate it. Thank you. Dr. Moore, we have a consent agenda.
Thank you. We'll start with A. Under the consent agenda, I recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Is there a motion?
Madam President, I will move approval of the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor with a raised hand? And that's unanimous. That's it for tonight. Our next meeting will be June the 13th, and we are adjourned. July 13th.